stuff like past tests you've done or stuff you wanted to go over?
One I had a question on was like when like it's like a introductory word, I guess, like kind of like when it's or it's like if it's like obviously or like in fact, like questions like that. I don't really know which one like to use, I guess.
Like like punctuation, like commas and stuff, or
Well, like sometimes yeah, I can try and find like an example one, but
oh, like when it's like multiple introductory, like different words, like you don't
yeah,
know
and
which
like
one.
just like which one to use, I guess.
Okay. Um. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty specific. It's like based on like the different type. Like it'd have to be based on like the context of what's there. Obviously, just kind of reading around those sentences to see if what goes after the introduction or like that little introductory part, how it connects with the part before it. Like if you need like a therefore or like a however, just how it compares with the sentence before it. Just making sure to look at that. Um, I can see if I can find a couple questions with that later. Are there um, any other things like that? Any other specific parts you guys need to look at or want me to go over again?
Subject verb agreement,
Okay.
just a little bit of a refresher.
Yeah, I can do that again. Okay. Subject verb agreement. So basically, with subject verb agreement, um, obviously how it goes, the subject and the verb have to agree in like tense and plurality. So the most basic part is here's an example. It'd be the boy takes and the boys take. So like that's just one example where you're gonna have to change the verb depending on if this is plural or singular. A lot of times what the ACT does to try and make this more tricky is they'll have like the boys and then they'll put one of those introductory interrupting phrases in between with the commas, the boys, and then they'll have this interrupting phrase and then they'll have the verb. So what you have to do there is just block out whatever's in the middle and the boys take. So you just have to find the subject and find the verb, make sure they're talking about, or like you know which one's going with which. And yeah, I can go over a couple more of those. So like here's one of those examples. George, encouraged by his friends, are finally getting a tattoo. So the subject here is George, and the verb is are. So we need to make these go together. So what would it be there? What would we have to change that to? Anything you got?
Word?
So it's singular, right? So like we would say, we wouldn't say, if you just read it, like block out this middle part and just read it.
Oh.
Don't read that middle part, and it goes George are finally getting a tattoo. Does that make
Is.
sense? Yeah, it'd be is. George is finally getting a tattoo, right? So sometimes if we just block out that middle part, it helps. Does that make sense? Okay. So another couple things. This is just the one tricky part about this that I think is the hardest part, because to me it doesn't really make any sense, but I just learned to accept it. Is these each is one body words, so they look plural but they act singular. I'll list the words again. I've read them before. Each, everyone, everybody, anyone, anybody, someone, no one, either, or neither. They all look plural, but they act singular. So, like an example of that would be each of the boys dances. So, if you block this out, the boys dances, that doesn't make sense, right? But since we have this each of in front of there, we're gonna need it to be singular. Like when you have that S, it makes it singular. So each of is like kind of like pulling one boy out of the group. That's how I like to think about it, and just talking about what he's doing. So each of the boys dances. Or if you have like group words, like the team, team wins. These are more obvious. Even though like a team is multiple people, it's still going to be a singular thing because it's just one team. And this also kind of goes with pronoun usage. This each is one body. This is like the same thing. So a pronoun is like when you're replacing like he, she, they, them. When you're replacing the noun or the subject. So when we're replacing that, we need to make sure it's matching what we're talking about. And when I've gone over this question before, but when we use these like each or each is one body words, it makes it a little more tricky. So for example, what is this? So here, everyone took his water gun. This is kind of confusing for me. I would think it would be everyone took their water gun, because it's talking about multiple people, right? You're going to replace it with like multiple, but that's not correct. When you see these like everyone or everybody words, you're going to need to use that singular pronoun to replace it. And another example of that we went over is this one. So, if anybody wants to go to the water park, she should give her money to Ellie. So again, anybody is referring to multiple people, right? But it's one of those words, so it's like taking one person out of that big group, and we're just talking about them. She should give her money. So those pronouns there have to be singular. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or things you want me to go over again? No. Is everyone
So
good
for
on-
the last one, if it's anybody, then you would use the singular, or would you use they?
Singular. So yeah, with those like
Singular.
each is one body words. I mean, you probably won't see it too much on the ACT, like maybe like once a test, but if you see any of those words like everyone, anyone, anybody, it's kind of like, I like to think of it as like taking one person out of the group, and then you need to use those singular pronouns. Anything else anyone wants me to go over? Is everyone feeling good, like on punctuation and stuff? semicolons, commas, and all that. Okay. I think that's the like heaviest part of the ACT is all the punctuation. But
Dashes for me.
you want to go over dashes?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Actually, yes.
Dashes basically just set off interrupting phrases, kind of like the comma hug. But if you see one dash, you're always going to either see another dash or it's going to end in a period. You'll never see a dash and then like a comma. So that's kind of a big giveaway a lot of the times on the ACT. Like they'll give you one dash and then the next part is not ending in a dash, so you just know that there has to be another dash there. They really don't do much. They just set off maybe like a little bit of additional information or interrupting phrases. Anything else? Word choices or any of that stuff. Whom versus who. Any of those words or adjectives, adverbs. If not, we will go into a test. We'll be going passage by passage. So yeah. Which test haven't you guys done in here? Just want to find one. What about page? Page 328. Have you done that one? No? Okay. Alright, page 328 in this big red book is where we'll be. We'll be going one passage at a time, so you get 9 minutes for that passage, and then we'll go over the answers. I'll ask everyone for an answer. Alrighty. Go ahead.
What book and page?
Red one, ACT, and page 328.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. 4 minutes. One minute. Alrighty, time's up for that. I'll go around asking the answers, and then we'll go over the questions that you guys have. So, number 1, what'd you get up here?
C.
Yep, 1 is C, 2,
I put F.
yep, 2 is F, 3 is B, correct, 4,
H.
4, close, 4 would be J, so humans are among threats to the animal survival. If you look right above in that like previous sentence there, which face a daunting array of threats to their survival from droughts to human encroachment. So it's already saying like the human encroachment is a threat to them. So it's repeated information, and J is the correct answer there.
Also, why is 3B?
So yep, this is kind of like what the dashes I talked about. Whenever you see one dash, you're always going to see another, or it's going to end a period. So you see a dash in the previous part of that sentence, so you're going to need to also have another one. Yep. 5. John, could you give me that one?
B.
Yep. Trinity, could you give me 6?
G.
Yep. 7, CC.
C.
Yep. Luke, could you give me 8?
I said H.
That one is G. So there, we're not going to need, we can't have a period there because the habit of pulling water into its trunk is not a full sentence. And you can't just say then by. It makes most sense putting and in between there. The habit of pulling water into its trunk and then releasing the water into its mouth. Yeah, it's just it needs a connector word there. So G is the correct answer. Alrighty, 9, Maeve.
I said C.
Yep. 10, Ishan. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
I got G.
Yep. 11, Will.
I got B.
Yep. 12, Raya.
I said A.
Yep. 13, Lucas.
I'm currently at the airport right now.
Okay, you're good. 13 is D, 14 is J, and 15 is B.
Why is 15 B?
Okay, so it's both the writer goal had been to write a brief essay focusing on some aspects of animal behavior in the wild. Would it accomplish the goal? Yes. I mean, it talks about the elephants the whole time and just kind of like some of their behaviors, like the trunk and how they raised each other and what they eat and stuff like that. So B would be the correct. What'd you put?
A.
Okay, yes, because that's if I much research, how fun it's gonna learn to identify various family members. It doesn't like focus on her research. It kind of just it doesn't focus on how she researched. It focuses on like just the elephants in general. So B is better, and it doesn't really specify or like the main part of the essay isn't about how they identify their family members. So yeah. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll move on to the next passage then. 9 minutes for that as well. 3 minutes left. One minute left. Alrighty. Time is up. Just back in time. Alrighty, could you give me 16?
J.
Yep. 17.
Hit
Yep. A. 18.
G.
Yep. G. 19.
B.
Yep. Perfect. John, could you give me 20?
F.
Yep. Trinity, 21.
A.
This one was a tricky one. The correct answer to this was actually B. The reason for that is the instead is like an interrupting. That word itself is just an interrupting part. So it needs to be hugged with commas. And none of the other ones do that except for B. So apology with instead, or with comma instead, comma. So B is going to be the correct answer there, just because the instead is interrupting. CC, could you give me 22?
J.
The correct one for that was actually H. This was another pretty difficult one. I thought they all kind of made somewhat sense, but the first one, what it doesn't have, there's no, like, the person, the narrator, it doesn't show how he started it, so that's wrong. It's saying, like, the collection started itself, where you need an I there, like a subject I. So H is your correct answer. You said J, so the start of my collection came to me driving home from school one chilly October evening. Again, there's no I in that one, so H is the correct answer. 23, Luke.
I said D.
Yep, 23 is D. 24, Maeve.
I said J.
Yep. 25, Ishan.
I said B.
Yep. 26, Will.
I said J.
What'd you say? Sorry.
J.
Yeah, J. 27, Raya.
I said D.
Yep, D. 28, Lucas. Or he said he's at the airport. Yeah, 28 is H. 29 is A. And 30 is F. Are there any questions on any of those?
Could you repeat 19?
19 is B.
Why was 8? Wait, what was 18? Or no, 16, I'm sorry.
16 was J.
Why was it J?
Okay, so what it's describing is they are called ghost signs. So it's describing what the ghost signs are, and that's remnants of outdoor advertisements from a bygone era. That's what the ghost signs are. A ghost sign isn't seeing it. It's not like the action of doing it. It's like just the object. It's what it is. All the other ones kind of make it like the action of seeing ghost signs, but what it's describing is just the object of a ghost sign, like what it is. So remnants of outdoor advertisements from a bygone era, they are called ghost signs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
27.
I had a question.
One sec, he asked a question first. 27. As fun as it is to have company, my best hunts have been D, solo trips. I feel like the only other option here could be solitary trips, or like the other ones, they just don't describe the trips correct. Solitude trips, solitaire trips, no. Solitarily, no. Solo trips is just the best answer there, D. Yeah. What was your question, Raya? Did you have a question?
No.
Okay. I think she just said she had to go. I don't think she had a question. All right.
We do 20.
20? Okay. After all, there they are, advertising products and businesses that no longer exist. So, you don't need a comma to separate the products and businesses because it's just two things. You only need it when it's 3 or more in a list. J wouldn't be correct because there's no reason to have a colon there. What'd you put? G?
I put H.
Okay.
Yeah,
that one. There's no reason to separate those two. You only use a comma and then a fanboy, like an and, if you're separating two independent clauses, like two things that could be a sentence by themselves. Okay. Any other questions with that? Alrighty. We'll move on to the next section then. This will probably be our last section. Go ahead.
She got kicked out for some reason.
Not bad. Not very bad. I didn't kick her out. Oh, maybe her internet died or something. Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Two minutes left. Minute left. Alrighty, time is up for that one. I will just list the answers for this and then we can see if you guys have any questions. Alrighty. 31 is B. 32 is F. 33 is A. 34 is F. 35 is D. 36 is H. 37 is B. 38 is J. 39 is C. 40 is H. 41 is B. 42 is J. 43 is C. 44 is G. And 45 is C. Questions on those? Yes.
43.
Okay. 43. So that one, kind of just look at like the rest of the things on the list there. It says stalactites and stalagmites from a time where, or when the caves above the sea level, and artifacts of early human inhabitants. So like, it's kind of just telling about the time of, or like kind of where those things came from. So alligators now extinct on the island. Just goes with it. It's just listing those things right there. Those three things. So you just need the commas separate them. Any other questions?
I got my thing logged out. Like I don't know, I got like logged out. But for the previous for passage number 2, for question 20, after there's like the colon, like how do we know? Is it just and for the punctuation when listing stuff, or like how do we know it's not like products, comma, and businesses?
So yeah, you only use like a comma and when it's either you're listing 3 or more things, right? Or if it's separating 2 independent clauses. So if the thing before the comma could be a sentence by itself, and then the thing after the comma could also be a sentence by itself, then you need a comma and an and to separate those 2 things. But if you just read that, like, after all, there they are, advertising products, businesses that no longer exist. Those 2, like, they're not sentences by themselves, so there's no need for a comma there.
Okay.
Alrighty, if there are no more questions, that's where we'll leave it off today. Good job, guys.